Good morning, guys. You able to hear me? You able to hear me? Perfect. So, हाँ हल्का सा बैकग्राउंड नॉइज आ रहा है ना? हल्का सा बैकग्राउंड नॉइज आ रहा है ना? Bear with me just for today. I have some issues with the OBS system. I need to fix it. I have some issues with the OBS system. I'll get it fixed. Okay. So, guys, let us see the first question for the day. In the context of modern history, the lightning conductor and conspiracy theory was actually related to Iron Revolt, establishment of Indian National Congress, the partition of Bengal, Komakata Maru incident. In the context of modern history, the lightning conductor and conspiracy theory was actually related to. Precisely. The establishment of Indian National Congress, right? Wasn't it? The establishment of Indian National Congress was a theory which was given on the basis of this. At the time of Congress, when it was being established, the lightning conductor and the conspiracy theory was both given in the context of establishment of Indian National Congress. R.P. Dutt opined that Indian National Congress was born out of a conspiracy to essentially abort the popular uprising in India, and bourgeois leaders were basically part of it. The middle class leaders, bourgeois, were actually part of it. The lightning conductor theory was actually given by Bipin Chandra, who observed that early Congress leaders used Hume as a lightning conductor and as a catalyst to bring together the nationalist forces, even if under the guise of a safety valve. Even if under the guise of a safety valve, they brought the nationalist forces. Good morning, Prapurna. Good morning, Jayant. Now, next question. Consider the following statements. Complete independence was the main aim of Indian National Congress in its initial stage. The first session of Congress was presided by Dadabhai Nauroji, and Dadabhai played a very important role in establishing the British Committee of Indian National Congress in London. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Which of the following statements is or are correct? Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Pat. Good morning, everybody. See, the complete independence was never really the aim of Congress. I mean, right? Yes, book sources, yes. I'll put a video today itself. Okay, complete independence was never the aim, plan, purpose, intention of Indian National Congress. ये तो था. The second biggest problem is, yes, the first Congress session was actually headed by Vomeshchandra Banerjee, not Nauroji. Nauroji was much younger. Aims and objectives of Congress initially was not really the main of independence of India, but rather the main aim to be was only clarified as independence in 1929. But Congress initially intended to get greater role and participation for Indians in the administration of India. The greater role and greater participation of Indians in the administration of India. इसी में था कांग्रेस पूरी तरह. Congress was entirely on this. Just 1 second, guys. Now I think no background noise. Now I think no background noise. It's perfect. Consider the following statements regarding early nationalists of India. The moderates campaigned for Indianization of government services. Mass participation of people was a unique feature of the early nationalist movement. Which of the following statements these are correct? The moderates campaigned for Indianization of government services. Mass participation of people was a unique feature of the early nationalist movement. इनमें क्या सही है और क्या गलत? The answer is only A, because see, mass participation was never the intention of Congress. Even you can say until the arrival of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi into the Congress leadership, mass participation was never the part of Congress plan, right? Congress never really had the intention of mass participation until the arrival of Gandhi. Congress never had the intentions of mass participation. So the moderate pace of the national movement really had a narrow social base. In fact, that was one of its major weaknesses. That masses never really played any role in the early, I could say, protests, early meetings, early plans of International Congress. Okay, this was because the early nationalists actually lacked the political faith in the masses, and the moderates could not make any sort of tangible benefits for the nationalists. Okay. Now, during the Swadeshi movement, which of the following leaders declared political freedom is the life breath of a nation? Rabindranath Tagore, Bipin Chandrapal, or Bindo Ghosh and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Who said that political freedom is actually the life breath of a nation? For a nation, political freedom is the life breath. ये किसने बोला था? Answer. Wasn't Tilak about Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it? Wasn't Tilak about Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it? It was actually Aurobindo Ghosh. Aurobindo Ghosh, new lamps for the olds. The militant nationalists tried to transform the anti-partition and Swadeshi movement into sort of a mass struggle and gave the slogan of India's independence from foreign rule. Political freedom is the life breath of a nation. Thus, extremists gave the idea of India's independence the central place in India's politics. The goal of independence was entirely to be achieved through only through self-sacrifice. Answer is C. Aurobindo Ghosh. Consider the following statements regarding the Lucknow session 1916 of Indian National Congress. The Lucknow session of Indian National Congress was presided by Annie Besant. It led the readmission of extremists into Congress, and death of moderates like Firoz Shah Mehta facilitated the union of moderates and the extremists. Which of the following statements is or are correct? Yes, 2 and 3. It was Ambika Charan Majumdar. The readmission of extremists and into Congress happened in the Lucknow session of 1916. It was actually a Congress session chairman or chaired by Ambika Charan Majumdar and not any Besant. It was also in this session that Sarojini Naidu declared that Muhammad Ali Jinnah is the greatest messenger of Hindu-Muslim unity. Finally, extremists were admitted into Congress. The death of Firoz Shah Mehta and other great moderate leaders actually facilitated or helped to remove any opposition of readmission of extremists back into Congress. Now, arrange the following events chronologically starting from the earliest. Champaran Satyagraha, Jallianwala Bagh Satyagraha, or Jallianwala Bagh Massacre, Ahmedabad Mills Strike and Foundation of Satyagraha Sabha. Chronology. क्रोनोलॉजी के क्वेश्चंस हमेशा बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं दे आर ऑलवेज द बेस्ट एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट चंपारण सत्याग्रह जलियांवाला बाग मैसेकर अहमदाबाद मिल स्ट्राइक एंड फाउंडेशन ऑफ सत्याग्रह सभा oh yes 3 1 1 3 2 4 1 second both A and B I mean A or B both चंपारण 1917 Ahmedabad 1918 Jallianwala Bagh then came the establishment of Satyagraha Sabha, and then last was Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Can any of you tell me why Satyagraha Sabha was established by Gandhiji? What was the main aim of Satyagraha Sabha? Established by Gandhiji. For what? Yes, against the Rowlatt Act. Yes, it was Gandhi's protest against the Rowlatt Act. The Champaran Satyagraha of 1917 was the first Satyagraha movement led by Mahatma Gandhi in British India. Gandhiji's second struggle was at Ahmedabad in 1918 when he had to intervene in a dispute between the workers and the mill owners. Satyagraha Sabha, founded by Mahatma Gandhi in 1919. Satyagraha Sabha was actually founded in protest against Rowlatt Act, and Jallianwala Bagh massacre is also known as the Amritsar massacre, which took place on 13th of April 1919. Consider the following statements regarding Lucknow session 1916 of Indian National Congress. No, it is this question got repeated. That's it. The Lucknow Pact between INC and Muslim League put forward which of the following political demands? The separate electorates for Muslims. It demanded self-government from the British. All members of the Executive Council should be Indians. Which of the demands was there in Lucknow Congress session? In fact, many historians blame the Satyagraha Sabha, the Lucknow Pact, to actually being one of the first, you can say, phases for the beginning of um, partition, the plans of partition and the beginning of partition. There are many who believe that Congress agreeing the. Good morning, Antariba. Good morning. Okay, next. See, Lucknow Pact. Answer is A. While the League agreed to present a joint constitutional demand with Congress to government, the Congress accepted Muslim League's proposal or the stand of separate electorate. The joint demands were the government should declare that it would confer self-government to Indians at a very early date. The legislative councils were to be further expanded with an elected majority and more powers to be given to them. And half of the members of the Viceroy's Executive Council were to be Indians. I mean, half were to be Indians. Not full, but half, 50%. Consider the following statements regarding Home Rule League. Home Rule League movement was an Indian response to the First World War. Jawaharlal Nehru, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and Madan Mohan Malaviya supported the Home Rule agitation. The Russian Revolution of 1917 led the decline of Home Rule League movement. Which of the following statements is or are correct? Home Rule. Answer is D. Yes. Jawaharlal Nehru, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and Madan Mohan Malaviya supported Home Rule agitation. Yes. Let us see if answer is D. Answer is actually C. Home Rule League was an Indian response to World War One. Yes. And Jinnah Sahab, Nehru, Malaviya were active supporters of Home Rule. But Russian Revolution is not directly involved with Home Rule League. Na? It was Irish nationalism, not Russian. In fact, Russian Revolution is the inspiration and impact for revolutionary movement in India, not Home Rule. Next question. Home Rule was actually in response to the World War One, and Ibsen Tilak were the pioneers or the founders of this Home Rule League or Home Rule movement in India. It is inspired from the Irish Home Rule League platform. Bulabhai Desai, Tej Bahadur Sapru, Chittaranjan Das, Jawaharlal Nehru, Motilal Nehru, Lalaji, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, they all were members of this. Now, consider the following statements regarding Minto model reforms. It retained official majority in the Central Legislative Council but allowed the provincial legislative councils to have non-official majority. It introduced a system of communal representation for Muslims by accepting the concept of separate electorate. It granted franchise to the limited number of people on the basis of property, tax, or education. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Minto model reforms. Two only, one and two, three only, one, two, three. Answer is B. Why D, guys? Why D? Like it retained official majority, no? Under this, Muslim members were elected only by Muslim voters. The franchise was limited to a number of people on the basis of property, tax, or education. Are we talking about Minto-Morley reforms or Montague-Chelmsford reforms? Please check. Varsha, I know the doubt would have been coming. Are we talking Minto-Morley or Montague-Chelmsford? Increase of the franchise on the basis of tax or education was a Montague-Chelmsford reform, right? Not a Minto-Morley. I mean, if I'm not wrong. Prelims, prelims. It's often very confusing. That's why only one and two. What is the significance of Sabarmati Ashram in the modern Indian history of India? It served as the last residence of Mahatma Gandhi. It had been declared as a national monument by the Indian government. Salt Satyagraha was started from this ashram in 1930. Select the correct answers from the codes given below. Sabarmati Ashram. Did Salt Satyagraha start from Sabarmati Ashram? Did Salt Satyagraha start from Sabarmati Ashram? The answer here is B. Bilkul Zai Jawab. 2 and 3. Sevagram Cottage served as the last residence of Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhiji left to Delhi from Sevagram Cottage in 1946 and then went to Noakhali. Sabarmati Ashram was the home of Mahatma Gandhi from 1917 to 1930. In 1930, while leaving Sabarmati, he said that he will come back to Sabarmati only after India's independence. But unfortunately, after India's independence, he was killed. From where he did not return to Sevagram. After going to Delhi, he did not return to Sevagram. He was martyred or he was killed in Delhi 1948. Exactly. It was from Sabarmati Ashram that Gandhi began the Dandi March, also known as the Salt Satyagraha, on the 12th of March 1930, in recognition for his efforts to influence of Indian movement. Indian government has established the ashram as a national monument. Sabarmati Ashram. Now, one of the four major achievements of Swarajist was that they defeated the Public Safety Bill in 1928. What was the bill about? Empowering the government to deport undesirable and subversive foreigners, empowering the government to shoot anti-social elements on site who were propagating seditious ideas, empowering the government to deploy heavy armed forces in the interior and exterior of India, the funding of which was to be coming at the expense of Indian taxpayers, none of the above. Public Safety Bill and Trade Disputes Bill, the two bills against which even Bhagat Singh Battukeshwar threw unharmful bombs in the Imperial Legislative Council, if you remember. So let us see what it was. The Public Safety Bill of 1928 basically was one of the most controversial bill. The entire idea was to deport undesirable and subversive foreigners. If you remember, there were a lot of communist leaders in India, particularly British communists in the 1928. So British government wanted to throw these guys out, Russian nihilists and British communists. Yeah. 1928 में पब्लिक सेफ्टी बिल पास करवा के 1933 मीरठ कॉन्स्पिरेसी केस entire communist party of India was closed. Got it? Next question. The first white paper on constitutional reforms for India was prepared and submitted for consideration of the Joint Select Committee of the British Parliament on the recommendations of Hunter Commission, Radcliffe Commission, Butler Commission, Simon Commission. Hunter Commission, Radcliffe Commission, Butler Commission, Simon Commission. इंडिया में कम्युनिज्म बंद हो जाता ना संदीप, क्योंकि द प्रॉब्लम वाज इंडिया में जो भी कम्युनिस्ट थे दे वर एक्चुअली ब्रिटिश. सो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट इन इंडिया कैन डू वॉट एवर दे वांट विद इंडियंस, बट दे कांट डू द सेम विद ब्रिटिश बिकॉज यहाँ पे कुछ करेंगे तो दे हैव टू आंसर इन द कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ इन ब्रिटेन. That's why first they got all these foreigners arrested, then Indians were arrested in Meerut conspiracy case 1933. Got it? Answer is Simon Commission. Simon Commission was sent into India in 1927. The British government announced the appointment of a seven-member statutory commission under the chairmanship of Sir John Simon. It was an all-white commission. All the members of the commission were British, and hence the all pretty much every political party in India boycotted it. The commission submitted its report in 1930 and recommended the abolition of diarchy, extension of responsible government in India, establishment of a federation of British India and princely states, continuation of communal electorate, and so on and so forth. Which are the following were the recommendations of the Simon Commission set up in 1927? India's constitution should be unitary in nature. The provincial government should devolve financial powers to the local bodies. Separate electorate should be abolished. Elections to the legislative assemblies will be based on universal adult franchise. Select the correct answers from the codes given below. 1 and 3, 4 only, 1 and 2, none of the above. Simon Commission in 1927 basically came, the answer is D. Okay. So none of the above. The idea was to suggest a federal constitution. The provinces were to be given full autonomy, including legal autonomy or law-based autonomy. Other major recommendations of the Simon Commission was the number of provincial legislative councils were to be increased. Governor General was to have complete power to appoint members of the cabinet. The governor was to have discretionary power to relate to internal security and administrative powers to protect the different communities. And the government of India was to have complete control over High Court. There were to be absolutely no Indian members in the commission, no universal adult franchise, and the position of Governor General was to be remain unaffected. There was no provision to abolish any separate electorate, but it was rather extended to all other communities as well. Totally no financial devolution in the commission. A manifesto titled The Revolutionary that was produced as the evidence in the Kakuri conspiracy case of 1925 was written by Sachindranath Sanyal, the Mumesh Chandra Banerjee, Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tayyabji. The Revolutionary was actually written by Sachin Sanyal, who also wrote the Bandi Jeevan. This was distributed in large cities in North India on the 1st of January 1925. It proposed the overthrow of British colonial rule and its replacement with what they called FRUSI, Federal Republic of United States of India. In addition, it basically sought universal suffrage and the socialist oriented aim of abolition of all systems which make any kind of exploitation of a man by another man impossible. I mean, exploitation of a man by a man was to be made impossible. Consider the following statements regarding civil disobedience movement. The movement was officially not approved by the Congress before its launch. All the roundtable conferences between British government and the Indian leaders followed only after this movement. The movement was eventually withdrawn because of violence. Which of the above statements either are correct? One and two, two only, two and three, none of the above. Civil disobedience movement, CDM. The civil disobedience movement, answer is B. Mahatma Gandhi actually started the civil disobedience movement in Congress after Congress session December 1929. The main aim was to introduce a complete disobedience and disorganization of the British government in India. During this movement, it was decided that India would celebrate 26th January as its Independence Day. And on the 26th of January, the British government tried to repress the movement and resorted to brutal firings, killings, and hundreds of people. I mean, thousands were arrested along with Gandhiji, Nehru, but the movement spread all across all the corners because Gandhi had ended up creating a system where the Congress members were given their instructions that if Gandhi is arrested, listen to the lower guys. If some other is arrested, further listen lower. So it was decided, it was given that advice that they could go with the lower leadership but continue the movement regardless of who's arrested or who's not. Oh yes, Muslim League also protested against the Simon Commission. Muslim League का problem ये था that Simon Commission did not have a Muslim. I mean, look, please understand, Muslim League had gone to a point by this time where they were even looking for Muslims in dal. दाल चावल में भी हिंदू मुस्लिम देख रहे थे ये लोग. Like we make dal, Muslim League started making खट्टी dal. हम दाल बनाते थे, ये लोग खट्टी दाल बनाने लगे. Muslim League was on a completely whole different motivational track. Thousands were arrested. Okay, yes. Consider the following pair: Gandhi movement, unique feature, Champaran Satyagraha, Rowlatt Satyagraha, Kheda Satyagraha, Ahmedabad mill strike, which of first civil disobedience, first mass strike, first hunger strike, first non cooperation. Which of the following is correctly matched? Well, anyways, we are at the discussion point. I always tell students this aspect very clearly. See, as a UPSC aspirant, you cannot actually be judgmental. There were inherently certain reasons to why people like Muhammad Ali Jinnah or Liaquat Ali Khan went to the extent of demanding a separate Muslim province or a separate Muslim country called Pakistan. See, although not as part of a strategy or not purposefully, without a direct reason, unfortunately, Muslims were boycotted within Congress. कांग्रेस में मुस्लिम्स का जो अस्तित्व था ना वो खत्म हो गया था. Well, Muslims did not want to do this, but it just happened. Muslims never wanted to do this, but yes, it did happen. Unfortunately or fortunately, that sort of break, that division came. And Muslim League basically exploited this gap and encashed themselves. Answer here is B. Champaran Satyagraha was actually the first civil disobedience. Ahmedabad mill strike was the first hunger strike. If you guys remember Ahmedabad mill strike, they purposely said this. Kheda Satyagraha first non-cooperation, Robert Satyagraha first mass strike. Now see, look, Sandeep, I respectfully, I think I would disagree with Ajit Doval. Ajit Doval is more or less talking from a nationalist perspective or a non-political, from a political perspective. But the reality is, partition was inevitable, guys. I mean, ये आप लोग सीधी बात समझ लो. There was no alternative to partition in India. कभी ना कभी तो होना था. What most people tend to ignore is only 20% of Indian Muslims actually went the other side. 80% preferred here only. अब कुछ लोगों को जन्नत चाहिए था, वो लोग जन्नत बनाने की कोशिश में जहन्नम बना लिया. And some people wanted to make heaven called Pakistan, but eventually ended up making a hell called Pakistan. वो तो अलग है. That's a different story. But partition was inevitable. They were, see, चाहे जितना भी try to promote the concept of nationalism and concept of unity, diversity, etc., the reality is they were inherently, coherently, complete differences between certain communities of Muslims and Hindus. Yes, Sandeep, I'll tell you, in the year in somewhere about 1922-23, Liaquat Ali Khan actually went to London asking for Muhammad Ali Jinnah to come and help Liaquat Ali Khan in developing this concept of Pakistan and putting forward the idea of a separate Muslim nation. Jinnah slapped Liaquat Ali Khan for asking that. In fact, until 1920s, 28, Jinnah thought the logic of a Muslim country was dumb. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he was one of the strongest supporters of independence of India, but a united India. But obviously, yes, after 28, there were certain things which happened, which then forced Jinnah also to take that path of communal politics, and he was really successful in that. So depends, guys. आप इसको कैसे देखते हैं? I mean, Jinnah Sahab can be understood from every other dimension, that you want to. Okay, now, when did the practice of holding ICS examinations simultaneously in England as well as India begin? 1912, 1922, 1932, 1935. 1912, 1922, 1932, 1935. In fact, in 1940, there was a meeting where Muhammad Ali Jinnah, B.R. Ambedkar, and Periyar Ramasamy Naikar, they planned to create an India which did not include Congress provinces. Basically, Central India, South India, and Muslim provinces together. There was even that proposal. Yes, they wanted to create an India which looked like this. This was to be non-Congress India, and this was to be Congress India. Yes, yes. Ambedkar, Periyar Ramasamy Naikar, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I have the photograph as well. After class, I'll show the photograph in group में डाल देता हूँ. अब देख लो कहीं. Original photo है मेरे पास of this meeting where they wanted to create a non-Congress India. चलता है guys, no issues. 1922. Indian candidates were permitted to sit in ICS examination in Delhi. 1924. The Lee Commission by Arthur Lee, West Viscount Lee of Farhan. They created a Lee Commission. Basically, this commission gave several recommendations. One of the most important recommendations was the Federal Public Service Commission of the Provincial Public Service Commission ICS officers should receive increased and more comprehensive levels of compensation. 40% Europeans, 40% Indians, and remaining 20% were to be appointed from the non-covenantal or provincial civil services. 40% Europeans, 40% Indians, and 20% from provincial promotions. Yeah, yes, yes, I'll share. During which period did India properly witness the process of deindustrialization due to British economic policies? I've shared the image in the group, in the Telegram group. You can check. Ambedkar, Periyar, and Jinnah. Eventually, Jinnah did not want, in fact, Jinnah opposed Periyar's concept of Dravidanadu and a separate non-Congress country. So it depends how you try to understand these guys. Ye log, they were what's it, trying to do this mix match of different things. जो भी फिट हुआ वो इनको इस्तेमाल करना था बस. Answer is C. 1813 to 1860. It was 1813 to 1860. Just 1 second. Yes, Sandeep. Not he Ambedkar was actually, to be honest, guys, I'll tell you one problem with Ambedkar's understanding. He only wanted it for the first 15 years because Ambedkar का एक अलग problem था. Ambedkar was an anti-casteist actually. So he never wanted the caste identities to stand on the community name. But he knew that giving reservation would make casteism an identity. And giving reservation was actually totally against to what Ambedkar himself really wanted for his people, right? By giving reservation, he ended up institutionalizing casteism. लोग अपना सरनेम में कुमार, यादव, शर्मा, गुप्ता क्यों लगाते हैं? क्योंकि it's now become a casteist identity. Ambedkar, that's why I wanted to keep it to a limited period of 15 years, I mean, during which the depressed classes will get uplifted and then leave it to the merit-based system. So most people misunderstand Ambedkar. Exactly, by giving reservation, पूरा मामला ही बिगड़ गया ना. Upliftment छोड़ो, it actually made caste an institution. Good morning, Levi. Ambedkar ended up, I mean, he regretted. That's why, you remember that most famous quotation where Ambedkar said, if given an opportunity to burn the constitution, I would be the first to burn this constitution, but this is the best we could do. Yes. Warren Hastings' experiment of auctioning the right to collect revenue to the highest bidder is almost similar to polygon system of Vijayanagara Empire, Ikta system of Delhi Sultanate, Jagir system of Mughals, Ijara system of Mughals. दुनिया में काफी लोग अंबेडकर को मिसअंडरस्टैंड करते हैं, but people never understand the context in which he was actually giving the reservations. He was not selfish. And I'll tell you one more thing. Have you ever thought why social reformers of the 19th century are more successful than the social reformers of the post-independent India? The logic was pretty simple. Social reformers of the British period, which is the 19th century, were actually very, very active, and they were trying to fix the problem. Whereas the modern social reformers are anti-community. For example, they are not attacking the system; they are attacking the people who are involved in the system. So, the original social reform of the 18th and 19th century is a positive social reform. The idea is प्रोसेस में गलती है, प्रोसेस को सही करेंगे. पर the postmodern social reformers, modern social reformers, if you observe, they actually keep on attacking the communities. That is the reason why Ambedkar is the best social reformer, but not the people after him. Ambedkar was trying to fix the patient, not kill the doctor. The later people, now after 20th century guys, are trying to kill the doctor. They want the patient to continue in coma. बस डॉक्टर को मार देंगे. Good morning, Samir. Oh, good morning, Samir. Yes. Now you understand. Like, see, हमारे यहाँ Telangana में भी, there was one guy called Bairi Naresh who was talking nonsense about religion and Ayappa gods, and he was talking absolute nonsense. What he was talking was actually similar, but his delivery of the content was very bad. That's why he got arrested and put in jail. Answer is the Ijara system. Zulfikar Khan introduced an Ijara system in the Mughals. वो है इजारा सिस्टम. Ijara agreement implied the right of collecting land revenue on behalf of the state or the Jagirdars for a fixed period of time by paying a fixed amount of money to the government. The British discontinued the downward filtration theory in 1854 to justify one of their colonial policies in India. Pick it out from the following: social policy, commercial policy, industrial policy, economic, educational policy. Samir, I am unfortunately no longer with an academy. I know. You can get the world history classes directly on this YouTube channel itself. मैं अकेडमी में नहीं हूँ. Answer is D, educational policy. Yes. That's best. I mean, Samir, an academy team is best to answer why. See, I have no hard feelings. मुझे पढ़ाने से मतलब है. अब वो अन अकेडमी हो, बन अकेडमी हो या फन अकेडमी हो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता मुझे. Who was the president of Board of Revenue when Lord Cornwallis introduced the permanent settlement in Bengal and Bihar? पर see, there's one advantage for this. अपना एक शेड्यूल फिक्स हो गया ना 8 बजे का. Now our a kind of schedule has come to us at 8 o'clock. 8 a.m. we will have a class. Simple. I don't know, Parthiban. I have no idea. I don't have access to their systems also now. Sir John Shore, Sir Metcalf, Sir Charles Napier, Sir Denison. These are actually John Shore. John Shore. He was actually in charge of Board of Revenue. वो better है ना. See, at the end of the day, we need to clear the exam. अब वो कैसे करेंगे? That is the first step in the preparation of UPSC is discipline, particularly discipline in terms of timing. अब जो भी हो, I mean, even on a day, if you guys are sleeping, you're going for a movie, you're having fun, at least उस दिन MCQ तो हो ही जाता है. Rest of the day, you will not have that guilt consciousness that I could not actually study today. So there's not a single day which will go when you have not studied little bit of something. That's the most important aspect of this consistency. Thomas Munro actually is the guy who introduced Rayatwari system. He is the guy who introduced the Rayatwari system. Thomas Munro. Question: which of the following is not one of the causes responsible for the rise of money lenders in British India? New revenue policy, new legal system, new education policy, commercialization of agriculture. Okay, Sandeep, Parthiban, don't use South Bharat. Use Bharat South. Or you might as well say non-Hindi India or or you can say non-Hindi India and Hindi India. ये अच्छा रहता. नॉन हिंदी इंडिया, हिंदी इंडिया, ये डिवीजन अच्छा है ना? हाँ, दैट्स द बेस्ट डिवीजन. See, I've always. No, we don't have a simply India. No, that's the problem, Sandeep. The reality is, I mean, look, the reality is we don't have a simple India. For example, I mean, I don't want to get bad. मेरी हिंदी बहुत अच्छी है, काफी ठीक ठाक है. बट यहाँ साउथ में अगर आप आके बोलोगे प्रधानमंत्री खनिज क्षेत्रीय कल्याण योजना, खत्म. 4 लोग ऐसे मर गए, फट 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 बोल के मर जाएंगे पढ़ते पढ़ते. भाई, why can't you simply say mining program, mining redevelopment scheme? यार, हाउ many of you, हिंदी वालों से मैं हमेशा पूछता हूँ, हाँ, कितने लोग अपने दोस्त के पास जाके कहते हो कि आप पधारिए, चलिए हमारे आवास चलते हैं? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू कॉल योर हाउस आवास? आई मीन, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू कॉल योर हाउस आवास? प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना, भाई मैन, प्रधानमंत्री घर बनाओ योजना, सिंपल नो? नहीं नहीं, सी संदीप, द एंटायर प्रॉब्लम कम्स इज, आई मीन दिस इज माय व्यू, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया को बदलना चाहिए. ये द रियलिटी इज डाइवर्सिटी इज अ कोर प्रिंसिपल ऑफ दिस कंट्री. हाँ, लाइक, मैं तो, आई मीन फर्स्ट टाइम, वो जो 75th इंडिपेंडेंस डे हुआ था ना, प्रधानमंत्री, प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ इंडिया कम्स ऑन टू द माइक एंड सेज, विभाजन विभिक्षा दिवस. द ओनली, आई मीन वहां पे माइक थोड़ा ऐसे ऐसे हुआ था. द ओनली थिंग आई हॉल्ड इज भिक्षा. आई वाज लाइक, क्या हो गया मोदी जी को, वाई इज ही सेइंग भिक्षा दिवस? लाइक भीख मांग रहे हैं क्या? बंटवारा दिन खत्म. See, I'm not saying, see, the real, and I'll tell you, having one single language for a country like India is a beautiful thing. The amount of advantage we will actually have by having one language like Hindi as the lingua franca or the world language of communication is tremendous. पर पर उसके लिए पहले हिंदी सिखाओ, हिंदी सिखाओ, संस्कृत नहीं. वो हिंदी जो मैं जाके, if I'm say if tomorrow I'm going to Patna and I have to find out a road or find out a house, and I'm going to a dhaba and talking to a lorry driver, the lorry driver has to understand my Hindi. मैं उसके पास जाके हमारे पूज्य गुरुजी का आवास कहाँ है, आप कृपया बता सकते हैं क्या? मर जाएगा वो लॉरी ड्राइवर, मारेगा मुझे, पत्थर मारेगा वो, बोलेगा पक, निकल जाए यहाँ से, ऐसे मारेगा वो. We don't want that. As Gandhiji always said, we want Hindas, Hindavi, not. See, my target, because tomorrow I'm going to be a bureaucrat or you're going to be a bureaucrat, you're a bureaucrat, the people you're going to deal are these guys, गांव देहात के लोग. And the second part, I'll tell you one more important aspect. Trust me, polyglotism or having more than one language is a tremendous advantage. And the amount of comfort people show to you when you speak in their native language is about 10 times more than the absolute luxuries of life. Since thankfully I speak Kannada, Tamil, Hindi, uh, English, and Telugu, and I can very well understand Malayalam. The comfort zone I actually get with these guys is big. Openness is very, very important. And trust me, we are not just a country of unity with diversity, we're actually a country with diversity which leads to unity. Diversity is the most aspect. So, yes, we have five Indias: North India, South India, East India, West India, Central India. And then we have UPSC wala India, UP PCS wala India, Haryana wala India, Haryana Administrative Service India, Rajasthan Administrative India, वो अलग अलग है. And I love it. Trust me, I love it. I want each of these guys to exist. I want each of these guys to exist. नॉर्थ ईस्ट भी हमसे अलग है, गुजरात भी अलग है, हैदराबाद भी अलग है. Yes, we are unique. But that's how it is. And जैसे चाइना अटैक करेगा, we'll all will boycott China typing from a Chinese laptop on a Chinese server running Twitter. The proportion of agricultural laborers to agricultural population was Manipur. Tomorrow I'll talk about Manipur violence. Tomorrow we'll have a quick discussion on Manipur violence. What's the problem with Manipur? No, Prapurna. I mean, we are all a divided. We have many problems within ourselves. We are a divided population. But the minute there is Chinese dispute, all of us unite under one flag. All the nationalisms come outside, and everybody shows their nationalism. And we all run a campaign to boycott China by typing on a laptop which is made in China, on a phone which is made in China, running on servers which are themselves made in China. And we still say boycott China. Yes, yes, we'll discuss. Manipur violence and problem origin, we'll see. See, agricultural proportion, agricultural laborers to agricultural population is actually the highest in the zamindari areas. The logic is pretty simple, guys. It is only in the zamindari system or the permanent settlement system that you actually get the existence of a community called the landless laborers, because people tend to lose their land very quickly. It is landless, the highest in zamindari areas, lowest in Rayatwari areas. Okay. Answer here. Answer is A. That this is wrong. Which of the following is not the result of destruction of Indian handicraft industries by British? Depopulation of towns and cities, rise of self-sufficient villages, increase in unemployment, overcrowding of agriculture. The answer is B. Hi, Ritesh. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, seeing after a long, long time. Yes, this was the last question of the day. The answer is B, rising of self-sufficient villages. Guys, let us meet for the MCQ class tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. on the very same channel. Every day, morning, 8 a.m. MCQ classes. Thank you, guys. You have a nice day. Join the Telegram group plus students and all material content. New world history and modern history books are coming with mind maps. Please join this Telegram group to download them. Okay, I'll be sharing them shortly this week. Thank you, guys. You have a nice day. Bye bye.